welcome or welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Amy. I am a mum of two boys and really happen to love books, and I have a book buying problem. So in today's video we have got a book haul. We've got 22 books here to go through, and I have been collecting these over the last few months. This hasn't just been a one big purchase deal. This has been over a few months. I wish I had the money to spend on that amount of books in one go, but this is what I have bought over the last few months, and some of these, you guys, I hit the jackpot with. I'm so happy that I got these. But without further ado, let's jump right into this book haul. So I'm going to go through paperbacks first. I think I actually have more paperbacks. Oh no, I think I've got 10 paperbacks and 12 hardbacks. So let's go through the paperbacks first. So in no particular order, the first book we are starting with is The Exorcist by William Peter Blatty. Everyone's heard of The Exorcist movie. I didn't actually know that it was based off of a book until I found this on the shelves in one of my local supermarkets. I need to get into reading more horror. I really want to read more horror because I am a bit of a scaredy cat. I am a little bit of a wuss, and I want to get more into reading horrors and thrillers. Even though I am obsessed with true crime, and I really like true crime books and crime and thriller books, horror I just can't seem to handle. So I'm determined to read more horror books. So as the name suggests, this is about an exorcist who goes to a house to exorcise a demon from a little girl called Regan. I've never watched the movie. I've seen clips of the movie and it kind of traumatized me a bit, and I've never wanted to watch it. So I'm hoping if I read the book first, it will kind of give me the courage to watch the movie, but we'll see. Next, I have seen this all over Bookstagram and all over BookTube. Bride by Ali Hazelwood. So this is forced proximity romance, I believe, between a vampire councilman and an alpha werewolf. They do not like each other, so it's enemies to lovers, forced marriage, forced proximity. And I love this cover. I think it's really cool. I've never read anything by Ali Hazelwood before, and I am more into like the darker romances, so I'm hoping that this will be a good start for me in reading Ali Hazelwood, and then maybe I can read more of her contemporary romance novels once I've finished this one. So we'll see how this one goes. Also, you guys, if you have read any of these books and you really like them or you dislike them, then please leave it in the comments. I love reading other people's opinions of books because reading is subjective. What I think is the best book on the planet, other people might think is awful. So I love hearing other people's opinions. So please let me know in the comments what you think of some of these books. The next two books that I got, I had to pick these up because I finished The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I gave it 5 stars, and the cliffhanger that it was left on, it just sent me reeling. So I picked up The Hawthorne Legacy and The Final Gambit. So I believe this is following the same storyline, a continuation of the storyline from book 1. The protagonist of the story, Avery, has inherited a billionaire's fortune for seemingly no reason whatsoever, and in the first book she works together with his grandsons to solve puzzles to figure out why she was given his billions and not his grandsons. And I believe this is a continuation of the story, so I'm super excited to read these. I'm really sorry if you can hear my children playing downstairs. This is the only time I can film, really. My husband's looking after the two boys at the moment, and it's a bit carnage filled as it is having two children. But if you can hear any noises or anything downstairs, apologies, but that's just how it is when you have kids. Next is actually a book that my next door neighbour gave me. She's big into reading as well, and she was giving away a ton of books and asked if I wanted to have a look through them. And the only one that I really like the look of is The Circus Train by Amita Parikh. This follows Lena, who is in a wheelchair because of polio, I believe, and she is sent on a travelling circus train, but because she's in a wheelchair she's confined to what she can do. Her wheelchair really holds her back. She can't go out and explore the world like she wants to. But then an orphan boy named Alexander comes along, and he has seen what Lena can't see. So he talks to her about it and shares his experiences, but then their world is ripped apart by either World War One or World War Two. So I'm interested to see how that develops throughout the book, and I feel like this one's going to tug on my heartstrings a bit, but we'll see. Next, I love the cover of this book so much. I think it looks so cool, and it is My Best Friend's Exorcism by Grady Hendrix. This just screams Stranger Things to me. I have never watched Stranger Things, but this just screams it to me, and I love the fact it's the cover is like a VHS tape, and for some reason I really like the size of this book. I don't know what it is, but this is a floppy old paperback, and I love a floppy old paperback. So we follow Abby and Gretchen. They've been best friends since 4th grade, but after an evening of skinny dipping goes disastrously wrong, Gretchen begins to act different. She's moody, she's irritable, and bizarre incidents keep happening whenever she's nearby. The fate of Abby and Gretchen will be determined by a single question: is their friendship powerful enough to beat the devil? Oh my god, this will be perfect for autumn time and Halloween time. I'm definitely going to put this on my autumn-October TBR if I have not read it already by then. Next is also another horror book. Now, because I'm not big into horror, I have not indulged in the works of Stephen King, but I want that to change this year. So I've picked up one of his shorter books, and that is Carrie. I have watched the movie Carrie, the original one from the 1970s or 80s, I believe, and it freaked me out. So Carrie is relentlessly bullied at school, and then she finds out that she has telekinesis. But because she has telekinesis, her mother, who is a very devout, pious woman, believes that she is the spawn of Satan, basically. She's one of the devil's workers, and she tries to make her life hell. And if you've watched the movie, we know the ending of this book. So it'll be very interesting to see how it is portrayed in writing and how it's portrayed on screen. So I don't know how I'm going to do with this, but I hope that I like it and I can read some more of Stephen King's works. This one, I believe, is a contemporary romance. Now, I watched this movie with my mum and I absolutely loved it. And I know it's been recently made into a Netflix series, which is why these covers have been redone. And that is One Day by David Nichols. I love this movie so much. So it's over 20 years, two people, one day. So we follow Emma and Dexter. They meet one night at a graduation party, and every year from then on, they meet on the same day every single year. And Emma is head over heels in love with Dexter, but Dexter is out doing his own thing. He is hooking up with many different women. He's getting his own TV show. He's, getting married, having a child, but they always end up coming back to each other. And even through the movie, watching their relationship grow was just absolutely heartwarming. It was so frustrating at times. You feel all those different feelings that Emma is feeling. And then the conclusion of the book just made me bawl. Well, the conclusion of the film, and I think the conclusion of the book will make me bawl my eyes out. So I'm hyping myself up for this one. Next is a little novella, I believe. Let's have a look. How many pages is this? This is 171 pages. So this is a little novella, and it is Medusa by Jessie Burton. I love Greek mythology. I absolutely love it. I grew up reading like children's history books and watching historical films with my mum, like Jason and the Argonauts and Clash of the Titans. And, there's so many misconceptions about, especially women, in these movies and these myths. And seeing books like this, I do have another one in my hardback pile that I will go through when I get to it. But hearing the stories and seeing the stories interpreted from the women's point of view. From what I remember, Medusa was attacked by other gods, and when she tried to get her revenge, she was then turned into a Gorgon. I really, really want to see how this is interpreted, and I love the cover. I mean, I am a gold foil girly. Everyone knows that, and my husband knows that. Anything with foil on, I am like a magpie. I just gravitate towards it, and this is so subtle with the amount of foiling, but I love the cover so much, and these end pages are beautiful. If I told you that I'd killed a man with a glance, would you wait to hear the rest, the why, the how, and what happened next? You know, I need to find out Medusa's point of view, even if it's not actually by Medusa. You know, hearing these stories from other people's point of view really puts it into perspective how things are so male dominated, how these myths were so male dominated, and it'll be very refreshing to hear a woman's point of view on this. And last in my paperback pile, I am going to be a little kid reading this, because I've never read any of Neil Gaiman's books. I really want to read Good Omens, and I do have Coraline up there as well. That was a Christmas present from one of my friends. I picked up Stardust, and I love the movie Stardust, but I feel like there's just something a bit more magical about books. And this is quite short as well. I feel like this will be really easy to read in one sitting, but just look at the cover. It is so stunning. But this will just take me to my childhood, I think. At the dawn of the Victorian era, life moves leisurely in the sleepy village of Wall. Young Tristan Thorne has lost his heart to the beautiful Victoria Forrester, and to win her love, vows to bring her a star they see fall from the night sky. It is an oath that sends him over the town's ancient wall and into the mysterious land of Fairy, a world that is dangerous and strange beyond imagining. I really, really, really hope that this is just as good as the movie, if not better. I've heard so many amazing things about Neil Gaiman's writing, and I hope that he lives up to it. So, I'm just readjusting because sitting by this bookshelf is a little bit uncomfortable. I will get a full-length tripod at some point, because at the minute you are currently on my chest of drawers on a tiny little tripod. So I'm hoping to get a full-length tripod so I can stand up and do these videos, because this is killing my back. So next is the hardbacks, and I cannot wait to go through these and put them on my shelf. They have been sat in a pile for months, and I cannot wait to put them on my shelf. So let's jump in. So this first one, I actually read this the first time from the library, and I ended up getting a copy, but for some reason, once the paperbacks come in, it is really, really difficult to get a hold of the hardbacks. I'm not sure why, but I saw that they were selling a couple on Amazon. I ordered them both and tried to cancel one, but they both came, and my next video is going to be an unhaul, so you'll see a couple of copies of this book in that unhaul. But I managed to get myself a hardback copy of Godkiller by Hannah Kaner, and I have Sunbringer just up there. So we follow Kissen, who is basically like a bounty hunter for hire, but for gods, and she ends up crossing paths with a little girl who actually has a god attached to her, so she cannot kill this god, because in turn she will then kill the girl that she has made acquaintances with and actually becomes quite close to. Elara, I believe it is. Just let me have a look. Inara. I was close. And then on their travels they end up joining forces with a previous knight turned baker called Elagast, and they are trying to find this humongous god that is wreaking havoc across the land, I believe. I am going to reread this because there are some details. It's been over a year since I read this, so there are some details that are a little bit hazy, so I'm going to reread this before I read Sunbringer. But gold foiling, and also these end pages. Oh my god, just look at these end pages. And I love the fact that just the naked hardback is green. It's such a beautiful colour. And just the first words on the synopsis: you are not welcome here, Godkiller. Oh, it sends shivers down the spine. It is, oh, absolutely fantastic. I cannot wait to pick this back up again. And I know that book 3 will be coming at some point, so I'm debating holding off because I want to remember the details from both, but we'll just have to see. You guys, this was one of my best finds. I've been on the hunt for this for so long, and some of these have been going for hundreds of pounds because they usually only sell the Fairy Loot editions. I managed to get a signed copy of this book for £35, which you might think, why would you spend that much on a book? It is signed, and it is very, very difficult to come by in just standard hardback. I got Belladonna by Adeline Grace. I'm so excited. I've got the hardback of Foxglove up there, and I've actually pre-ordered the Waterstones exclusive of Wisteria, which is the 3rd and final book in the trilogy. The reason why I ordered the Waterstones edition is because the original edition of Wisteria is pink, and the Waterstones edition is like this purpley blue, and I do want to stick with the purple theme because I know that they are now doing reprints of Belladonna and possibly Foxglove in a pink colour, but I just really like the purple. And like I said, it is signed by Adeline Grace. I was just, because there was basically a bidding war between me and one other bidder, and I actually cried when I won this bid. So if you're not familiar with Belladonna, we follow Signa, and she has been orphaned as a baby, but every single family that takes her in, one of the family members actually ends up dying. So she believes that she just is a bad omen. She causes death to people around her, and then she actually ends up forming some kind of an alliance or relationship with death. I haven't read too far into the book, but just these covers alone, like, I'm so excited to actually finally read this. I think this will be on my summer TBR because Wisteria comes out in August, so I'm hoping that I can read all 3 in the summer, but we'll see. And just the quote on the back, "Your name is no cursed little bird," I just like the taste of it. So I did end up unhauling. This was a while ago. I didn't include it in a video. I did have the paperback copy, but I ended up unhauling that so I could make room for this beauty. So happy that I got my hands on this. Next on the list is The Honey Witch by Sydney J. Shields. I've just noticed I've got paint on my fingers. Me and my husband have been doing paint by numbers for date night, and I obviously didn't wash it all off. So I'm sorry if you can see paint all over my hands, but this is The Honey Witch. So I've heard this kind of described as like Halloween Town, where the main character finds out she's a witch. Her mum is like, "No, don't go, you need to stay here and go to school." But her grandma's like, "Come with me, I'm a witch too, you can learn from me." It's that kind of vibe. But the only downside is that if you become a honey witch, you are then cursed to not find love. You are destined to just be by yourself and not find your soulmate. But then the main character, Marigold, meets Lottie. I think this is kind of like Grumpy Sunshine. Marigold ends up falling quite hard for her, and she kind of has to navigate, does she want to stay a honey witch or does she want to fall in love? I've heard mixed things about this book, so I'm a little bit nervous, but just the cover alone gives me spring/summer vibes. I love it so much, so I'm going to give it a go just purely for the cover. This was a cover buy, but I have heard mixed things about the book, so we'll see how it goes. Next, I could not resist these two, and I know that, I believe, is it January? I think it's January next year. The 3rd book is coming out called Onyx Storm. So I picked up Fourth Wing and Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros. I have heard that this is kind of like Hogwarts, but with like dragon battles and dragon riders. And I really hope that it lives up to that, because I'm just so excited. And these covers, they're so shiny. I'm curious to what the 3rd cover is going to look like, because the UK hardcover artwork hasn't been revealed yet. If they're just as shiny as these, I will be a very happy lady. So we follow Violet, but I believe she's known in the book as Violence. She's nicknamed Violence. Was supposed to enter the scribe quadrant, living a quiet life among books and history. Now the commanding general, her toughest Talon's mother, has ordered Violet to join the hundreds of candidates striving to become the elite of Navarre dragon riders. But when you're smaller than everyone else and your body is brittle, death is only a heartbeat away. Because dragons don't bond to fragile humans, they incinerate them. I love that so much. Oh, I'm so excited to read this. The only thing that kind of scares me a little bit is just the sheer size of them, especially Iron Flame. And I have heard mixed things about Iron Flame. I've heard that everything that was missed in Fourth Wing, like world building, character development, it's just kind of been shoved into this book. But we shall see. I'm going to dedicate the time, make sure there's nothing else on my TBR, and get through these before Onyx Storm comes out. But I could also work off the flip side of that coin and wait until the third book comes out and then read them one after the other. I don't know yet, but we'll figure it out. So this next one I actually got as an ARC through NetGalley, and I loved it so much that I had to order a physical copy when it came out, and that is Can't Spell Treason Without Tea by Rebecca Thorne. I love this so much. It's like Legends and Lattes but with dragons, and it's a tea shop instead of a coffee shop. This was just ultimate cozy vibes, and I cannot wait to read this again. This did give me major autumn vibes because I feel the most cozy in autumn and winter, as I imagine most of us do. So I think this will be on my autumn or winter TBR. But we follow Rhaena, and she has worked her way up the ranks, and she is kind of like the Queen's Guard. But Queen Tulane is very vindictive, very ruthless. And then one day, in front of Rhaena, she just conducts a massacre and kills many people. And Rhaena decides, I have had enough. See you later. I'm going. Bye-bye. So she goes to her partner, Kianth, who is She is basically the Archmage. She is one of the highest ranking mages in the realm. But she doesn't want to have that duty. She likes the fact she has powers and that she can harness them, but she wants to use them to help people, not for what is expected of her. They have been hiding their relationship for the last 2 years, and then all of a sudden Rhaena goes to Kianth and says, I want to follow our dream. I want to go start afresh and open up a tea in a bookshop. And they agree. So they go off on their pet griffin, which is just, they have a horse and they have a griffin, which I absolutely adored. I think that was so cool. The fact they included multiple creatures in this, I think it was so cute. And they go off and they settle down and form a little tea and bookshop. And this was just, it was almost perfection. There was just a couple of bits that I was kind of nitpicky about, but just look at all this gold foiling, like all of these leaves and everything. And what's best is it continues on the spine on the naked hardcover, which I adored so much. And the end pages as well, I think they're absolutely stunning. The fact they have leaves and little dragons included in it as well. It's kind of like Legends and Lattes and Fourth Wing at the same time. I can't wait to read this again. I'm so excited. Next, I found this in a Waterstones when I was visiting my family. Now, I am from a very small town. So I was very surprised that my local Waterstones, well, not my local, my previous local Waterstones had these couple of books. But the first one is A Tempest of Tea by Hafsa Faizal. I have heard this is like Peaky Blinders, but with tea and vampires. What more could a girl want? This just looks absolutely... Oh, I love it so much. Again, I'm debating whether to leave this for my autumn TBR, but I just love how the smoke kind of drifts across the whole like the whole part of the book. Now, I really did want the Waterstones exclusive edition of this because the smoke continues onto the sprayed edges, but I'm just very, very happy that I have a standard hardback of this because I think it's stunning. The streets of White Roaring grew fangs at night when the moon dragged a claw and the shop fronts cut dim and those who craved blood walked bold. Oh, I need to read this. I'm so excited. And just, there's just so many things about this I love. And I love the fact that the end pages are so simple, but they're so beautiful with like this ombre, like purple to pink. Arthie Casimir is a criminal mastermind and collector of secrets. Her prestigious tea room transforms into an illegal bloodhouse by night, catering to the vampires feed by society. But when the tea room and its secrets come under threat, Arthie must lead a gang of outcasts in a high-stakes heist to the sinister vampire underworld. So this is kind of like Can't Spell Treason Without Tea with the tea shop, with any just standard vampire book, but also with Peaky Blinders vibes and heists. I need to get this in my brain. I need to read this and keep it in my brain because I've heard so many good things about it and I'm just obsessing over this cover still. Next is another book I bought on the same shopping trip. Now the only thing I don't like about this cover is the fact that I believe there is a Barnes & Noble edition where the text on the front is actually much nicer. I'm not a fan of this big bulky text on this one. And I know the Barnes & Noble edition, it could be the Waterstones edition as well, it also has black sprayed edges, whereas this one doesn't. But it is The Familiar by Leigh Bardugo. I have not read anything by Leigh Bardugo yet. I have King of Scars, Rule of Wolves and 9000 Hellbent on my physical TBR. I might include Shadow and Bone on there as well. I may pick that up at some point. But I thought I would want to read The Familiar first just to get used to Leigh Bardugo's writing. But I have heard that this is slightly different from her other books. I know for a fact this involves vampires. I don't really have much of a clue what it's about other than it is set in the golden age of Spain, which gives me the Tudor vibes as well. And the other thing that kind of disappoints me, just looked at the end pages, they're just plain red. Whereas, as I've seen in other editions of the book, they have like pomegranates, which is a fruit of Spain, which I think is such a nice touch. So I might get another edition of this at some point if I like it. If I don't like it, then I'll just either unhaul this or stick with this edition because I do love this cover. I think it's gothic, I think it's spooky, and I love the fact that the scorpion kind of continues onto the spine as well. So we shall see what I think of this book. I really hope I like it because I've heard so many good things about Leigh Bardugo and I really don't want to be disappointed. Guys, we are in the final 4 books. I'm going to say 3 because 2 of them do technically count as a set. But the next one is the second historical retelling that I was talking about when I was talking about Medusa. And this is Medea by Rosie Hewlett. Jason and the Argonauts was one of my favourite movies growing up. I watched it all the time with my mum, and this was from like the 1960s, but it's still one of my most treasured movies of all time. I love it so much, and I felt like, I understand that the story is about Jason and the Argonauts going to get the Golden Fleece because of all of its healing properties and everything like that. But I feel like Medea was just kind of like a side character. It was like, oh, look at me, I'm pretty. I feel like that was the kind of character she was. But this book focuses purely on her story. And this cover is absolutely stunning. And then it's got a gorgeous landscape, which is the smaller version of this bigger one here. Just the amount of foiling on this book makes me a very, very happy girly. And I love the fact, for some reason, that the writing goes downwards. So the letters go downwards instead of sideways on the spine, which I really, really like. But I'll read the synopsis for you. Medea possesses a mysterious and powerful gift. At the hands of her tyrant father, this gift is exploited and used to defend the enchanted golden fleece that protects their land. When the dashing leader of the Argonauts, Jason, arrives to fight for the fleece, Medea sees her chance to escape. She offers to help Jason defeat her father if he will ensure her freedom. Much to her surprise, he accepts. Together they will obtain the fleece and build an empire. Their pact sets in motion a journey that will see Medea fall in love, battle monsters, dethrone kings and claim her power. But when faced with the ultimate betrayal, Medea is driven to an act of desperation so brutal it rips apart the lives of everyone involved. Now, this isn't mentioned in Jason and the Argonauts, especially not in the film. I've never really heard much about Medea in the myths either. It all seems to be about Jason and how he was so fabulous because he, rescued Medea and got the Golden Fleece. There's going to be much more to that story, and I think my mind is definitely going to be changed after reading this book, because the voices of these women, whether they were real or not, do deserve to be heard, and I'm very, very excited to see Medea's point of view. Now, these last 3 books. Oh boy. I had a bit of a crying fest when I found out that I could buy these 2. Now, both of these were £80, so £40 a book, which is very similar to Belladonna. Now, I have the 3rd book in hardback above my head, and I couldn't find the first 2 books anywhere in hardback. They only sold them in paperback, unless you bought the Fairy Loot editions, and someone was selling both of the Fairy Loot editions for £80 for both of them. So I managed to get Daughter of the Pirate King and Daughter of the Siren Queen by Trisha Levenseller. I had a hissy fit when I found out that, well, not a hissy fit, but I had a bit of a mini panic attack when I found out that I had got these, and I had even more of a hissy fit and a panic attack when they came to my door and I found the sprayed edges. They're even more beautiful in person because they make the pirate ship. So if you are unfamiliar, we follow Alossa, and she is the daughter of the feared Pirate King. He is very well renowned, but also extremely feared on the seas. So she's sent on a mission to retrieve an ancient map, but to receive the map and to steal it, she has to let herself be captured by the enemy crew, and she gives herself the perfect opportunity to search their ship. But then she ends up finding Raiden, who is her captor, and they end up kind of falling for each other and having a little bit of relationship. So this one kind of sets the main plot of the book, how Alossa is trying to find this ancient map. It sparks love interest, enemies to lovers, and then this one, Daughter of the Siren Queen, kind of explores Alossa's backstory a little bit more, and the 3rd one I believe is just from another person's POV entirely. But the other great thing about these books, one, when you take the dust jacket off, they have artwork on the naked hardback. So you've got the steering part of the ship, I can't remember. I've just completely lost the name of it. The steering apparatus of a boat, and then an anchor on this one. And you also get exclusive end pages. So this is for Daughter of the Siren Queen here. And then I'll show you ones for Daughter of the Pirate King, because they are just as gorgeous. So these are the ones for Daughter of the Pirate King here. I love it so much. I love Fairy Loot ones, but it's just the fact that they are so expensive, it does kind of put me off. But there's just something so special about owning them, so I'm so happy that I managed to get my hands on these. And Vengeance of the Pirate Queen, which is the 3rd book in the series, is on my TBR, so I'm probably going to reread all 3 of these so I can bring myself up to speed and then fully enjoy the 3rd and final book in the trilogy. So the final book in this book haul, my goodness, this is a cracker. So I was searching high and low for a hardback of this. Again, couldn't find it. It was really hard to come by, and then I found one on World of Books, which it said hardback, so I was a bit dubious, and they were selling it for £16, And I thought, that's too high for a paperback, even in perfect mint condition. But it's also the standard price for a hardback. So let's buy it and see what happens. It came to my door. It was a hardback, alright. I didn't expect it to be a Fairy Loot edition of Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldree. I opened this up in front of my husband and I was just stood there, mouth agape, jaw to the floor, and he was like, "What's wrong?" And I said, "They've sent me the Fairy Loot edition, which is worth a lot of money. And I have the hardback of Bookshops and Bone Dust, but that's just the standard edition, but I do not care. I have a hardback of Legends and Lattes. I am happy. I feel like the reading gods, the book gods have answered my prayers." And I will just show you. Look at this. It's got a little coffee and a little pastry. And then it's got the artwork from the US editions on the end pages. I'm not sure what's on the end of the other one. It's just the same artwork. But, oh my gosh. This was just... Oh, and another part I completely forgot. It's also signed. I love what you can find when you search hard enough, and this was no exception. And I'm going to read Bookshops and Bone Dust very soon, and then I'll probably read this after, because I know Bookshops and Bone Dust is kind of like a prequel to Legends and Lattes. So, super excited to get back in the cozy mood and join the world of Viv again. So excited. So, that was my book haul. I do now have to find space for these on my shelves. I have got no idea how I'm going to do that, but I do have another book haul probably coming very soon, because so what's today? Sunday. On Tuesday I will be 27 in 2 weeks, so I will be doing a birthday book haul, because there are so many more books I want to buy. Some of them pre-ordered, some of them not, but another book haul will be coming very, very soon. So I'm going to end this video here. If you have enjoyed this video and you want to see more bookish content from me, then please hit the subscribe button. It really means so, so much, and it would be lovely to have you here. But other than that, take care, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!